What is up, guys? It's Lost Griff. Welcome back to another video. Today's video I'm just going to be very briefly going over, or as briefly as I can, I'm going to be giving my full review on these patch notes. Now just to give some context, I am a somewhat top player, high elo. I consider myself pretty unbiased in my opinions in this game, as I do, try to reference some other players that are better than me. I don't really take my own opinions and a fact on this game, but I do try to look at statistics and objective truths instead of just trying to focus on personal opinions. So I'll be giving my opinions on what I think is over nerfed, what is under nerfed, if nerfs are justified, if they were well done, etc, etc. And yeah, so just before you get into this video, I just want to make sure I mention that I do have, a TikTok that I just created. I have a Twitter that I have had for a while, and I also have a Discord you can join to stay connected about my live streams on Twitch, and also just general content and other stuff like that. So yeah, and also remember that only a small percentage of people who watch my videos are actually subscribed, and yeah. So make sure if you do enjoy the content, you drop a sub. I hate to do these plugs, but again, that's how the YouTube grind works, and gotta do what you gotta do. So anyway, let's just get into the content, and yeah. So Gizmo will be arriving on the 8th of September, which is tomorrow, as of this video, as you can see, bottom right, 10:18 p.m. Looking at this, so he has his popcorn and ready to pop off. So let's go. I'm super excited. So Hurtbox, that's Hurtbox update, and because our Hurtbox system overhaul, our go with this update is to tightly tie hitboxes and hurtboxes, do our character animations, keeping an eye on how the update affects player experience. We're ready to implement additional patches if any problems arrive. Perfect, because I genuinely believe the Hurtbox update is going to be one of the best updates in Multiversus history and will extremely enhance the overall gaming experience, on top of the fact that it will just make the game a lot more honest and combos will be a lot more fair. So super excited to see where this Hurtbox update takes us. I'm going to put up an image on screen that shows basically the update that they did and how much more accurate it's going to be. It's incredible. I'm so proud of the Multiversus team for putting so much work into making sure the Hurtboxes were as accurate as possible. It's going to make the game so much more, easy for beginners, and also just a lot more fair at an advanced level. So that's what I think about that. So projectile systems update. This patch also includes the first part of a projectile system update, provides an interesting interaction between fighters, allies, and between projectiles. So basically they just want to update the projectile systems, and they feel like you shouldn't have to have a catalog of which ones have priority, which ones are stronger, etc, etc. Standardized opposing projectiles always clank, destroying both projectiles. So projectiles will always clank, they won't destroy each other. I actually kind of like this. I'm a bigger fan of clanking and just in general in fighting games. My biggest thing, my third thing, is by far priority. I hate how there's an arbitrary, description of how, Bugs Forward Air can just destroy any single assassin move because it has the most priority in the game. It's ridiculous. So I would prefer if a lot of moves start clanking and there's only very specific moves that are known to have specific priority. A good example of this would be characters like Superman, who are known for their low speed, known for their heavy weight, and at least have something to make up for that with high priority moves. That is the only situation in which I would like priority. I don't want it on characters that have ridiculously quick Hurtboxes they can throw out consistently. So that's how I feel. Okay, so introduce the heavy projectiles. They break enemy projectiles and can only flank with other heavy projectiles and cannot be reflected. Cannot be reflected? That's interesting. Okay. So there's more fairies and buffs that block projectiles more consistently. Block all projectiles, and the projectiles that explode no longer hit fighters that block the projectile. Perfect. Okay. Hey, you guys, coming in the middle of this video real quick to, adjust some things real quick to make sure that I'm not missing any of the patch notes. I was informed on the Twitch stream right after I recorded this that I missed out on a lot of different nerfs and changes. So I just want to go over them real quick. So directional action key mapping for keyboard. This is what I was basically asking for. I think that keyboard players should get this, but I'm hoping this comes for controller players as well. If it doesn't, I'm going to be kind of sad. But again, keyboard players kind of deserve this. They're at a severe disadvantage not being able to bind them. So I'm hoping it comes for controller. I think Tony said they're coming for controller, so I'm assuming that's what this means. So yeah. So just adjusted where some of the characters can be, and that you don't phase the map sometimes. Wall, floor, and ceiling bounces no longer restore dodge meter energy. So then they're adjusting priority of inputs, basically making it so that whenever you put in a jump and then put in an attack at the same time, sometimes it'll ignore that attack. Now it'll actually put it out, which is kind of nice. So hopefully that'll fix a little bit of that input mess ups. And then the trampoline tree health in the 2v2 tree fort map reduced a lot. Oh my god, bro, they just nerfed my favorite perk. All right, so they nerfed Make It Rain Dog, making it go from 10% on its own and now 20% whenever it's stacked. Wow, that's tragic. Make it Rain Dog now a much more nerfed perk. I don't think it'll be nearly as good to run on Finn now, which is kind of a shame. That's a huge hit to his gem, but honestly, it's fine. And then again, just a proper adjustment to all take that. That's perfect. Okay, we're chill with that. Okay, so what did Arya get? Arya, in my opinion, again, I've argued is the top 3 character in this game right now for 1v1s. Now, what happened to her that makes her worse in either 1v1s or 2v2s? I'd hope she gets a small nerf. So they removed the assassin passive. Perfect. So they reverted to the early access version of Up Special. So now they're making it so DI actually works on up B, which is exactly how it should work. There's a vacuuming effect that basically forces you to go a certain way whenever you're getting pulled in by Arya, which is just insanely god tier for combos. This is a huge hit to Arya's game, and I genuinely think this will make her so much worse, but not in a dumb way, more like so much worse in a balanced way, which is good. So again, this is a perfect way to counter out her extra 5% HP. And then they finally fixed the neutral special bug where she could basically stay in place after a neutral special, and the only counter to it was a projectile. Batman, closely. Okay, so the projectile system I think is going to do a lot to Batman in terms of nerfs. So I'm hopefully seeing that he will stay in the same spot. I don't really want them to gut him. He's a great character and super fun to play. So let's see. His down special now sends it more horizontally, so you can't just get insane combos out of his own character. So I'm quite interested to see how this turns out, but I think this will just overall make him a lot more balanced. So his Sair actually allows you to carry the momentum earlier, which is super nice. I think that makes his character seem a lot more fun. I noticed that sometimes you can Sair and they kind of completely stop your momentum, so kind of cool. And then they finally fixed Jab 2 into Jab 3. So they finally fixed, or basically her jab, or his Jab 1, Jab 2, which is perfect. That's basically all I really wanted to see in terms of his patches. I genuinely don't think this will make him the best character in the game. I think he'll still stay in the exact same spot, while also maintaining a pretty, strong kit, which is, how he's kind of supposed to be for 1v1s. Okay, so that's about it. That's pretty much all I missed. I noticed that the screenshot I was given was missing plenty of gameplay things, and that's kind of weird, but that's really all I wanted to talk about. I'm so excited to see a Bugs Bunny nerf. I hate this character, y'all. As much as I think he's not the best ones character, he's undeniably, no doubt, a top 2 2v2 character. He needs his special, or his, not a special, sorry, his projectiles are fine. His aerials are what need looked at, in my opinion. His projectiles make up his character identity, and honestly, most of them aren't super ridiculous. The biggest problem with him has always been his ridiculous combo game and damage, and aerials that basically out-prioritize characters like bruisers and assassins, when in reality mages should have the weakest aerials, or at least the aerials that are the easiest to counter or deal with. So a bit too safe and unpunishable. So Rock is now classified as heavy projectile. Up special is now a heavy projectile. Purple effect, that's perfect to show that it breaks armor. I love that. That's always helpful. And air ground neutral special, air ground neutral special is now heavy projectile as well. So this is what I like to see. Air upside down. Let's see. Recovery land cancel window delayed 2 frames. So it means that you cannot cancel it for 2 frames. Okay. Recovery land cancel window delayed to 3 frames. Okay, so you can't roll jump side air as much. Okay. And then hitbox active frames reduced. So the up air now doesn't have ridiculously long active frames. But is that really it? Ground neutral attack frame under the cancel and another ground neutral attack delayed. So I think this nerfs down air nair, but I still think it'll be viable to do that. And then they reduced the hitbox from 0.25 seconds to reduces 0.25 seconds. So I agree, coming through dock was a little bit too overtuned. That move is ridiculous with that signature perk. It's pretty much uncounterable and unreactable in most cases, so I'm glad they nerfed that. So here's my opinion. Bugs Bunny still should be touched, honestly, a little bit delicately. I don't want him to be over nerfed. He's a great design character, he's funny, and he has some cool voice lines, and I don't want him to just be unpicked. I don't think this will be enough. I think 2v2s, he will always dominate until he gets fundamentally reworked. In 1v1s, he will probably end up maybe high mid tier after this, maybe even low high tier. I still think this will drop him a few ranks. The biggest thing about him was just his overall dumbass hitboxes and priority. Hopefully they nerfed a little bit of his priority with this as well, and it's just a shadow nerf. So here comes some Finn buffs. As a Finn main, you guys know I'm excited for this. So I'm quite excited to hear what they have for this character in specific. So they removed the 5% damage taken debuff. I'm glad they buffed assassins in that way. I was kind of sick of the stupid damage debuff, so I'm glad they did that. increase starting gold to 200 from 100. I really like this change, which means right off the bat, if you go in, you land a full jab 1, 2, 3, you can literally buy speed boots. It can actually be a genuine game starter to get speed boots for an entire stock. And that's amazing. That is genuinely what Finn needed. He needs something to make his gold system even better, because his gold system sucks right now, especially if you use gem a lot. So glad to see this buff. So fix the issue of the high-fiving an ally would not hit enemies. Perfect. I'm glad they did that. Adjusted vacuum hitbox to more consistently combo to the final hit. Good, they needed a backpack buff. Ground down attack, increased minimum distance traveled. Finn did not need big buffs. Honestly, he didn't. Anybody who says that is wrong. I think everybody else needed nerfs. I don't think Finn needed buffs. The character's fine, and honestly, I think people are overestimating how bad he actually was. But having his ground down attack, his up special, I guess his high five, this passive removed, which gives him 5% more HP and just 100 more gold, might be just what he needs to be more in line with our characters. What about Garnet? What do they do to Garnet? When Garnet bubbles a projectile, the projectile will not be able to hit herself or allies until the bubble expires. Interesting. I'm not really sure what that means, to be honest, but reflecting on previous things, I genuinely believe it'll be something that's just a quality of life thing. So, increase projectile speed to 2200 from 2000. Recovery frames will decrease to allow for follow-up combos from the hit. Nice. I'm pretty happy with this. Her side special was pretty good damage-wise, but was really reactable and not very strong. So I'm glad they got a buff on it. I'm hoping it's a heavy projectile now, because, even though heavy projectiles are going to be crazy, I do kind of think she needs it to have a really strong projectile to make up for her really slow speed. So side attack 1 on hit cancel window moved earlier. Side attack 1 comes in. Okay, so basically they made her Sarah a little bit better. So really lackluster buffs, guys. I'm not gonna lie. She really needed a little bit more than this. Is it good? Yes. Is it enough? No, not really, man. I don't really think this is enough to get Garnet anywhere near the top level. In fact, I think she will stay exactly where she started. And even though a lot of other characters I can tell are gonna get nerfed, this just isn't really enough. But I'm glad they're thinking in the right direction. I'm glad she got a buff. It's better than nothing. It's not like Garnet players are going to walk away from this patch sad. It's not terrible to have a better projectile, less recovery frames. Maybe she might even get some things that are shadow buff that we might not know about. Harley. So her movement speed got buffed, which was very necessary. Her movement speed, honestly, movement speed and weight needs an entire rehaul right after the hitbox rework. I do think that weight and speed within this next 2-3 months need extreme precise looking at. Batman shouldn't be the lightest character in the game as a bruiser, while also being like one of the fastest. I think it should be vice versa. I think he should be a little bit heavier and have a lot of his speed taken away, kind of like Shaggy. I think all of the bruisers should go around the 60 weight area, while their speed might be as quick as, or at least maybe slightly faster than a mage. Maybe that's just me, but that's how I view it. I don't think the classifications of weight and speed mean anything right now, and how they associate with mage, bruiser, assassin, etc. I think they just mean nothing. But I would like if they were more specific and less misleading for beginners, honestly. All right, Iron Giant. What they do to him? So, Rage Mode, Gray Health reduced from 30 to 15. Rage Mode is one of the least overwhelming things about Iron Giant from what I knew, but whatever. So Air Nair, it looks like got whiff recovery increased. Reduced damage from 6 to 5. And static cooldowns. And, oh wow, okay, so I think this is an attempt to nerf hit the Valma Iron Giant combo, which is amazing, because, let's be honest, all of us hate that combo. It's overpowered. Even someone who doesn't play a lot of 2v2s like me knows that Iron Giant Valma, Iron Giant Bugs were all crazy combos, and that he kind of needed a little bit of tuning down with mages. Okay, so let's look at Jake. Jake, in my opinion, in the state of the current game, is probably the best or top 3 character right now. Jake has some of the safest punishes in the game, some of the safest combos in the game, insane hitboxes, insane range, and pretty much can out-bruise mages extremely hard, can out-bruise some assassins really easily. He's just an insane character. So I was hoping for a little Jake nerf this patch, especially on his down air. Let's look at what they did. So if Jake needs multiple opponents, he will spit them out on the first spit. Spitting no longer counts towards air special count. He can aerial spit even if he exhausted his air specials. So weakened stacks did get nerfed from 5 to 2. Perfect. Weakened stacks was ridiculous. 5 was unnecessary. So air ground down special. Attack duration reduced to 3 seconds from infinite duration. It looks like they nerfed the house. Kind of a weird move to nerf. As good as I think the house is, I think there's other moves that he has that are just way too good. I don't know. Kind of sus nerfing this in specific, but I mean, never really can complain about that. So okay, so Sair, they nerfed this move. This move was stupid in my opinion. Honestly, probably his top 3 best moves. So let's see what they did. Land cancel window delayed to match increased whiff recovery. So basically they made it so you can follow up easier from it, but it'll be a lot more punishable if it's whiffed, which is perfect. That's pretty cool, right? I'm honestly cool with that. This is another thing I was looking forward to. Sair shouldn't be a move you should throw out. It should be, you know, a way to get in on opponents and push them from there instead of just Sair as your way of playing neutral. Like, that's basically like Batarang, you know what I mean? And that's how some Jakes would play, and it worked up to an extremely high level, which is kind of dumb. But luckily they got nerfed, and hopefully this will be enough for Sair to be more balanced. So, damage reduced on first 2 hits. Okay, that makes sense. So they're nerfing his air down attack, which is perfect, and the 3rd hit ignite duration. I think that's just 2 more damage that it takes off. For my prediction, I'm guaranteeing you this triple down air combo will probably go from doing 25 to doing like 20 or 19 now, which is not bad. I mean, it's pretty balanced. I'd much rather have 20 over like 25, 26. So hopefully this will help balance out his air down attack a lot more. I don't really want to over nerf Jake. He's a very nice character for beginners to learn, and I'm totally okay with small nerfs on him. LeBron. Looks like LeBron got a lot to him. So, I think LeBron is up and coming in 1v1s. He's a great character. I think he should be labeled as an expert. He's got some really nice weight, some great projectiles to zone people out. He's got some amazing kill confirms. Awesome character that really just needs a small few helpful buffs to make him better. So his air down attack, his knockback angle are pushed to be more horizontal. I think this actually will completely kill the Dare side special kill confirm. Tell me if I'm wrong, but I genuinely think this might kill it. If I'm wrong, I am, but if it does kill it and these buffs aren't significant, LeBron's gonna suck. I'm telling y'all, he's still gonna suck. If this Dare, like I said, if this Dare nerf also makes it so that Dare doesn't confirm into side special, he's gonna need some help. I'm telling you guys, it was one of the best parts of his kit, so we'll have to see. Basketball, enemies can no longer hit the basketball. It was bounced back when knocked back when blocked by projectile blocking effects. Perfect. This is a good way to, make the basketball more valuable and make it less of a low value projectile. Ground pass projectile speed increased, so just increasing the overall speed of the projectile. The no ball air side attack, so basically just Sair without a ball. Active frame window moved 3 frames earlier. So I'm trying to think of, since it says it's a buff, that's why I'm so confused. I think it's saying that it's a nerf because it moved it 3 frames earlier. Regardless, I don't think either of these buffs are going to do a huge thing for LeBron. I think these are just small adjustments. And again, like I said, these buffs will mean nothing if they, end up just adjusting him to where his down air side special doesn't combo into itself anyway. So we'll have to see. Overall, not really sure what these buffs do to him, to be fully honest with you guys. He's the only character where I'm like, I don't really know what this does. I guess it just more adjustments and a little bit of frame window changes. Again, I think the character's on the up and coming. I think he'll be a low A tier character if this doesn't nerf his Dare confirm. He's a nice character, and I feel like people are starting to pick him up and starting to learn how good he can be in 1s, and also that he can be decent in 2s. So, 40. He got his passive finally fixed. It's enabled. The ammo cooldown on his neutral special, aka his grenade, it went from 13 to 12 seconds. A small buff, but nice. Knockback scaling is slightly better, so it kills probably a few % earlier. That's quite nice. It can also be knocked back by ally projectiles, and enemy projectiles will destroy grenades. I'm not sure what this will do. I'm not sure if this would kill a few of his matchups. A good example that comes to my mind is I'm wondering how this interaction will work in combination with characters like Tom and Jerry. Will Tom and Jerry Dynamite just completely kill Morty? I'm quite curious. I'm trying to think of other interactions that come to mind, but for some reason they're not coming to my mind. But you know what I mean? I feel like there might be some characters who will just straight up kill Morty because of how they interact with grenades. So, I mean, good change, but I'm glad that they buffed the grenades a little bit. Would love to see a potential future where you can grab your own grenades, but I doubt that's going to happen. It would be kind of cracked. But I would love to see, similar grenade play, kind of like Snake from Smash. Fixed issue with Morty is ally will be randomly pulled back to the save point. This only trigger when the ally is near the blast zone. Nice. This is amazing save, mechanic, and I love how this works, it'll just be frustrating if Morty ever becomes meta. But again, that's kind of just the point, right? So his down special is even better now, and now not bugged. The Portal Lane Relical now only shows from the multiplayer and online matches. You guys don't understand how absolutely huge this is. I genuinely used to think when I first played Morty that it didn't show the opponent, and then whenever I found it did, I was like, what? Pretty crazy. Overall, good change. He's an issue with the blaster could spawn 2 shots when fired. Knockback direction now based on projectile velocity, and knockback scaling increased, but they kind of just fixed it, right? They made the knockback scaling make more sense, and then basically just fixed a bug on it. Perfect. Ground up attack, fix the issue with the blaster with fixed issue with the blaster. Perfect, same deal. Ground side attack, full jump combo that connects more reliably, and extra fleet juice just got a small buff, but nobody's really going to be using this. This is enough changes and buffs to Morty to make him probably more of like a low to high mid tier. Again, I don't think he's that great of a character, but this is just enough he needed. He needed fixes, he needed some small adjustments, and I'm glad he got what he got. So, perfect. Alright, Rain Dog. His air ground neutral attack. You can no longer hit the spit projectile. Air up attack, vacuum hit, knockback, applied to the first hit to make the 2 hits chain together more reliably. Yep, I noticed his air up attack would usually not connect, so I'm glad that happened. So basically, there's a small nerf to how fast you can just spam projectiles. Okay, I'm chill with that. Okay, Shaggy. This is a character I believe to be the best character in the game for 1v1s and a top 6 1v1 or top 6 2v2 character. I don't believe he needs a ridiculous amount of nerfs. The biggest thing I was worried about was just nerfing his dare loop and making his charge a little bit easier to punish. I think there should be a little bit more end lag on his charge, that he can't just charge and then while you're trying to chase him, after his charge you can just side B right out of it and just instantly get 20% in a 5 times weaken. I think the character needs some small nerfs. I think he kind of plays like a tank while also being just as fast as a assassin, while also just having insane kill confirmed. I genuinely just believe he just has everything. He is a same character. He needs a big nerf. So, let's see what he did. Super Sandwich now classified as heavy projectile. Perfect. Bug fix correctly branched to other attacks for non-rage side specials. So his air ground side special, interesting. I'm curious to see how this will affect things. So ground down attack, armor from the attack and knockback will push to be more horizontal. Great. I think this will be a perfect way to fix, the things I was talking about just a few seconds ago. I think this will make it so his dare loops aren't as strong. This will make it so his down strong isn't as powerful, and that's overall just great. His weight is reduced from 76 to 68. Perfect. This is just a start of making his weight a little bit more balanced. He will die quite a few % earlier, and Last Stand will no longer be even close to viable on him, in my opinion, after this nerf. Jump cancel to ground up air special is delayed to prevent a true combo air up special because it's killing at unexpectedly low damage. Yeah, if you guys didn't know, Shoryuken aka up special is one of the best kill moves in the game. I'd argue it's up there with Batman's up special. I genuinely think this move is pretty insane, and as people started to learn the true combos with him and how to play him in the air, he got even better at killing, so I'm glad they did fix the jump cancel. Steven Universe, I don't really believe this is going to be a big deal, right? Spawning 2 shield with his up special, Steven must land on solid ground. Okay, yeah, so this is just a nerf to his, this is just a nerf basically to the ability where you could just infinitely stall people out. Okay, I don't think Steven needed any adjustments anyway, in my opinion. Okay, so Superman. Honestly, people argue this is a top 3 2v2 character. I agree. I also think he's a top 5 or no, top 7 1v1 character. I think he's getting a little bit weaker as different characters get more optimized. As much as I think Superman's great and his offstage game is just ridiculous, I do believe there's better characters than Superman right now in terms of 1v1s, but I do believe in 2v2s he is genuinely easily a top 3, top 4 2v2 character up there with Bugsy and Velma, and really helps the Bruisers and Assassins shine, as well as the mages, honestly. So let's see what they did. Air up special, they fixed a bug. Later start up on active hit frames. Okay, so less active hit frames, nice. So the flight speed after it grabs an opponent is slower, so you won't carry enemies as far. I think that's totally fine. His offstage gameplay was already kind of ridiculous, so I'm glad that they nerfed that. Down special has an ammo cooldown. Oh my god, what a great change. I absolutely hate how spammable this move is. It genuinely makes him a mage and makes him win so many matchups a heavy shouldn't be able to win. I'm sorry guys. As a Finn, I shouldn't have much of a problem beating a Superman, but whenever I'm charging attacks and I'm just getting lasered 20 times over and over again, it's kind of annoying. Makes the character a lot better than he should be against assassins and against close range characters. So I do believe this needed to happen. His down special is too strong, controls too much space, and is too good. So I'm glad they did this. So it looks like they made his active frames on his ground down attack worse, which makes his infinite a little bit worse. And up attack, ground up attack was one of the most disjointed attacks in the game. It would hit directly behind him, which basically means it didn't matter which direction you were facing, you were dead to the Superman up attack juicer. So glad they nerfed that. It's kind of stupid, so good. Okay, biggest thing, Taz, and I think this character needs some great buffs. He really sucks. He's down there with Garnet, and he needs some great buffs. And I'm hoping that if I read these buffs, he should have some great changes, not only to his chicken stuff, but also just to his overall moves, because they have no range, and he has no general viability in 2v2s. He's more of a joke character, and in 1v1s even as well, he's not very great. Beachcomber Taz, okay, just a fix. And then max Stacy stacks increased from 18 from 16? So they basically just nerfed how easy it is to get max tasty. I guess that makes sense for certain characters. Chicken movement speed reduced to 1200 from 1550. The chicken maximum health, I don't know what health would mean for chicken. I think that means how much damage you can take or something. Chicken duration reduced to 6 seconds from 8. So they just basically kind of did some changes to chicken overall. Interesting. So Taz can now eat and spit Bug, Safe, Rocket, and Shaggy Super Sandwich. Damn, okay. These are some pretty crazy changes. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. This is a big change. It definitely is night and day for his Bugs matchup. I still don't think it'll be enough, even close to enough, to win the Bugs matchup. But is it a good change? Does it make the matchup easier? Yeah, for sure. On cooldown, tornado duration increased to 45.45 seconds from 25 or 0.25 seconds. That's perfect. I mean, again, I feel like I was playing Taz earlier and I noticed his on cooldown tornado was pretty goddamn useless. It was just kind of just throwing at a hitbox that could be punished, so I'm glad they did that. That's fine. Recovery frames decreased to allow for better combo follow-ups. So basically his apple is a little bit safer to throw out. Perfect. I think the move is overall not that great, and making it a better projectile move is perfect. So you can now cancel the up special. So I think this is in the wrong topic right here, but I think they made it so the up special, the the like gotta get in there thing, the little dog pile, basically you can cancel out of it. I actually died earlier as playing as Taz because I couldn't cancel out of my dog pile. So I'm glad they did this. Dog pile was super punishable and also uncancelable, so there's really no point of throwing it out unless you were certain it was gonna land. That's pretty good. So Anvil is now classed as a heavy projectile. Nice, okay. And Taz's ally can enter the dog pile 1 time per use. So I think it's just a bug fix. Are these buffs enough to change the character and put him from B tier to S tier? Absolutely not. Is it something that's going to make him a little bit more in line since every other character is getting nerfed too? Yeah, a little bit. He might go up maybe 1 placement. But this is just more quality of life stuff. I'm glad they changed Taz. And I feel like he'll be a little bit better to play now. So glad they did that. And hopefully we'll see him get a little bit stronger in the meta. Okay, so Tom and Jerry, you guys know I'm a Tom and Jerry Finn player. Haven't played as much Tom and Jerry recently, but he's very deserving of a nerf. He's up there with Velma and Bugs in the 2v2 format. I think Tom and Jerry, Superman, Bugs Bunny, Velma are pretty much the 4 accepted best characters right now for 2v2s. Now, let's see what they did to Tom and Jerry. If they nerfed him more than they nerfed Bugs, I'm going to tear my hair out because I absolutely cannot stand how strong Bugs is. And people are kind of complaining a little bit too much about Tom and Jerry. I feel like the only real changes he needed was Jerry nerfs. I think Jerry needed like what? I would say 10 to 6 HP. The double bounce active hitbox needed nerfed in my opinion. And I think his down air just needed overall hitbox fixes as well as his up air. And I mean, honestly, that's about it. His Dynamite was just a good move. It didn't really need nerfed or anything unless it continued to dominate the meta. So we'll see what they did to Tom and Jerry here. I'm quite curious. So Jerry no longer hits enemies immediately after the rocket explodes. I don't know what this means. I think this is just a bug fix. Okay, so Jerry. He is now classified as a heavy projectile while in flight. No longer refreshes his cooldown if he dies while attached to an ally. Okay, that's perfectly fine. Cork ammo from 2 to 3. Perfectly fine. Cork was a little bit overtuned in my opinion. I think it's another thing that's fair to do. So his Sair added 3 frames of recovery. Land cancel window delayed for 7 frames. Okay. Again, his Sair was not even a big deal in my opinion. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Another big problem I forgot to mention is his jab. His jab was another big problem. So his Sair, I don't really know why they would nerf something like his Sair. I think they should have just nerfed something else that made him more bruiser-like. Okay, so let's see. Air down attack, 3 frames of recovery, and then the land cancel window delayed by 3 frames. I imagine this just makes it like a little bit harder to cancel out of. That's really all it is. There's a very small nerf to his jab. Again, that's not even really a big deal in my opinion. Dynamite split signature perk. Now I don't really care what they do to this perk because I'll probably just end up using the fishing rod one if it's really that bad. So we'll see. Split dynamite sticks now detonate when they hit terrain. This just nerfs the bottom. I think it just makes it a little bit harder for people to, it makes it a little bit easier for people to approach him from the ground. And that's totally fine. Again, all of these balance changes look a lot to me like very, very carefully tiptoeing into the balanced side of the game, which I'm totally chill with. I believe that they should not be heavily touching the game on the same patch that they completely rework how hitboxes work. So, totally chill with this. Again, this doesn't really nerf him that hard. He's still going to be pretty strong. I think what they needed to do, again, was to reduce, remove the slingshot bounce hitbox and nerf his jab instead of nerfing stuff like his Sair and nerfing something like Dynamite, which is like a good move, but kind of is a definition of his character. All right, our last things, we got Velma and Wonder Woman. Let's see what they do to Velma and Wonder Woman. Instead of calling the police, Velma now solves the mystery and calls the Mystery Inc. gang and the Mystery Machine guy to take the bad guys away. That is hype. I heavily prefer this over the police. That's cool. I don't know why they would do this. Are people really getting offended over this or something? I don't really know. So no longer applies weakened stacks on hit. Her up special, totally fine. I agree that needed to happen. I don't know why she has weakened stacks on something like an up special. Grounded neutral attack no longer heals Velma when she hits an ally with a speech bubble, totally fine. Her movement speed was reduced to 2100 from 2200, and they reduced her weight to make her die at a few percent earlier. Again, just some small Velma nerfs. She's again a menace to this game right now. Still kind of needs a little bit more pushes to finally come back to a fair 2v2 level. Last set was no longer classified as a projectile. Kind of interesting to hear why they did this. And then her ground down attack no longer breaks projectiles while charging. Great. This is literally the only thing from stopping me from absolutely destroying every single Wonder Woman spin. I don't really know why it has this interaction, because it is already a decent move on its own. Her weight was reduced from 76 to 71, perfectly fine. Her weight and movement speed were totally out of phase. As much as I think the character isn't OP or anything, she did kind of need a few touches to kind of make her a little bit more in line. And then her movement speed was reduced from 2250 to 2225. Again, most players won't even notice this. Just some small Wonder Woman adjustments and changes. I don't really think this is going to affect her character too much. Maybe you'll die a few percent earlier if you play a lot of Wonder Woman, and that's about it. Honestly, guys, a pretty good patch for something that they spent several weeks on and everything. I'm pretty excited to see how this works out. I was really hoping in this update that they would update it to where you could set binds for specific specials, but I don't know, maybe that will be in this update. I'm not entirely sure what'll happen. But yeah, this is overall just, again, seeing these quality of life changes slowly trickle in is so satisfying to look at and see. So very excited to see how these future quality of life changes end up turning out. What else? They did pretty good with this. I think they should be tiptoeing into the nerf and buff region as much as they are right now. I think just completely overdoing the changes and making ridiculously over nerfs and over buffs would be a terrible decision right now. Who do I think is going to be the best? Well, first of all, a lot of characters weren't really touched in terms of their own meta placements. I think Morty will go up a place or two. I think Rain Dog will stay where he is. I think Shaggy might go down, maybe to Jake's area a little bit more. I really don't think it did much. Removing his dare loop was a small part of what made him so good. But again, I still think he's going to be fine. He still has his jab resets. He still has his kill confirms. He still has his crazy charge. Still has a lot of good specials and options that are still not even fully optimized and are in the process of that currently. If you're leaving this patch wondering, where's the Batman nerfs? That's probably what their ideal, view of it was literally just to totally overhaul the projectile systems to make it so characters who do have projectiles, which is basically what's meant to counter Batman, is characters who have projectiles, while also having, the speed or at least the moves to keep up with them. Basically, that was the goal of this update, I believe. So overall, everything I really cared about got addressed. I still think bugs is going to be way too strong in twos. I really don't think this is going to really bother him whatsoever. I think Arya was the biggest problem I walk out of this update with. I think Arya needed some small nerfs. I think she was kind of fucking ridiculous in ones, but again, they can't really balance ones and twos at the same time. If they really want to keep Arya where she is right now, then fine. But I'm telling you guys right now that Arya will continue to dominate 1v1s. I think she's going to climb to probably top 2, maybe type in top 3 after this, considering the fact that pretty much every single top 3 character, Shaggy, Jake, and Arya Lee, Batman, and Arya, I consider this to be the top 3-4 characters. So I think Arya might go up a placement or so, considering the small nerf that Jake and Shaggy got, and the small nerf or medium nerf that Batman got. So interested to see what you guys think. I know this was a really long video. I'm sorry. I just really wanted to take a long deep look into all these patch notes, what I think from an outside perspective. But if I were to decide on what character is probably going to be the best at this point in time, at least for 1v1s, I know that Shaggy, Jake, Batman, and Arya will continue to dominate the 1s queue, and Bugs Bunny will now probably fall down a placement or two, which is perfect because character being the best in 1s and 2s is kind of ridiculous. All right, that's all I have for you guys today. Make sure you drop a sub. Make sure you interact with all the community stuff I am putting out right now. My Twitter, my TikTok, my community page on YouTube. So you can now have specific emotes and different things you can put in the comments, and different priorities and benefits for being a member of the channel. I'd appreciate if you guys could become a member for the small price of between 3 and 10, I believe, based on what level you choose. So yeah, that's about it for you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.